Yes, it is made a crime. Until we start jailing parents who refuse to send their children to school.
This statement by the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, is on the back of the staggering number of out-of-school children in Nigeria, which was put at 10.5 million in 2013 by UNICEF and believed to have risen to 13.2 million. Indeed, holding parents accountable for the education of their children is entrenched in the Child Rights Act. But with only 23 out of 36 states domesticating this act, there's uncertainty in its full implementation.
The provisions of this Child Rights Act concerning educating the child just says that the right of the child to basic universal primary education is guaranteed. If the government is even going to adopt or implement the provisions of the law, or going to melt out punitive measures to parents for refusal to send them to school, especially in the north, under which provision of the law, because in this state, the laws are not domesticated.
A lecturer and associate professor at the University of Lagos, Dr. Adelaja Odukoya, believes that the federal government's plan may have been born out of the need to stem the tide and reduce the number of out-of-school children. But there's a fundamental question.
If you look much more critically, you discover that the statement is misdirected. The first question to ask is, why are people not going to school? Why are parents not interested in putting their children into school?
We take this question to the streets.
Why most parents don't send their children to school? It's because of the school fee.
Go around public schools in this city where we are now. You will discover where children, pupils are taking lessons under 3 shades.
A country where there are no jobs, where there's poverty everywhere, expect people to take their children to school. Even the so-called government schools, they still need money for stuff like that. So it kind of works on both sides. The government needs to do their part, then the parents will do their own part.
This respondent has an idea on one of the ways parents can do their part.
All the children are supposed to go to school. So if you don't have the means of sending the children to the school, it means you don't need them. So you don't bother to have a child there. But that's my belief.
9 years of formal education, which includes 6 years at the primary level and 3 years at junior secondary school, is free and compulsory under the Universal Basic Education Act 2004. But how free is basic education in Nigeria?
A child will come to school, either the headmistress or proprietor or headmaster will say, headmaster will say, levy 1,000, 2,000, whatever. And most parents don't have this amount to pay.
Aside from economic barriers and inadequate infrastructure, social cultural norms and practices also discourage attendance in formal education, especially for girls. Many have described the challenges facing education in Nigeria as huge. How can the country's education system get a new lease of life?
Criminalizing those people children not going to school would not necessarily solve the problem. Resocialization, reorientation, and making school attractive, and making sure that those who have gone to school are in the right place where they should be within the social status.
Budget, they're supposed to allocate up to 16% of the budget to education. How much? 5%. What would that do for us? There should be that budget that will be enough for schools to run.
It's not clear when or if federal government's plan to prosecute parents who do not send their children to school will transform into action. But what many have agreed is clearly and urgently needed is the overhauling of Nigeria's education system. From Lagos, Yomi Otaigbe, Channels Television News.